The start of a new year is the time to take a forward look at where our favourite as well as our most anticipated games are heading. This means a series of space game focused videos then, and first up on the list I'm taking a look at Squadron 42, which fortunately enough for us recently had a new video released in the form of a trailer highlighting some of the footage from the game. As to be expected, the visuals shown in the trailer look absolutely stunning. And naturally, whilst I'm personally far more interested in the sister title of Star Citizen, Squadron 42 is a game that, like many other people, I'm keen to get my hands on. Now there's huge potential here for an ambitious story-driven space game, and after all, that's something that we haven't seen for a very long time. Also, it's worth keeping in mind that this is considered to be a high-budget title, and also features an all-star cast with actors such as Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, Henry Cavill, and many more. Now no doubt the question on many people's minds is when Squadron 42 is going to be released, and more importantly, for the subject of this video, what is the state of play on the game for 2020? Also, right up front, I'm going to state that due to the nature of the subject of this video, there will likely be some people out there that don't like the content. But ultimately, as with all my videos, I'm simply presenting the facts here, so take it or leave it based on that. So then, as of right now, there's no official release date for Squadron 42. However, CIG have stated that they are aiming for a beta release during the third quarter of 2020. Unfortunately for us, CIG are pretty transparent about their development progress, going as far as having full development roadmaps online that we can all take a look at. So the Squadron 42 roadmap is split into two different segments. The features list, which shows work on individual tasks such as gameplay, environment design, AI development, and many other things. The other segment is called the overview, and this gives us tracking information on progress for completion of each individual chapter in the game. In total, there are going to be 28 chapters. So let's take a look first at the features segment. And this section is fairly well organised, with tasks broken down into quarterly segments. Immediately, we can see that the features for Quarter 1, Quarter 2 and Quarter 3 are fully complete. Work on Q4, however, is still ongoing. It appears that the AI is a significant issue here for CIG, with only 1 out of 12 tasks completed on the Ace level Pilot AI. Standard Pilot AI, however, was completed in the second quarter of 2019. Now, out of the fourth quarter's 33 features, 5 have so far been completed. Some of the outstanding features are showing great progress, however. For example, the Vandal Hunter has 31 out of 34 tasks complete. However, some features seem significantly behind schedule, such as the physical damage system, which currently shows only 2 out of 13 tasks complete. Quarter 1 of 2020, meanwhile, has a total of 18 features in development, and understandably, as we are only at the beginning of Quarter 1, none of these have yet been complete. Now, I don't really want to focus too much on the individual points on the roadmap, but I think it's important to get a clear picture of the state of play here. So in terms of the individual features, it's clear that development is at least a few weeks behind schedule, but overall there seems to be a decent amount of progress. But perhaps the most important aspect of the game's progress, however, is the completion of individual chapter progress, and we can get a clear picture of this from the overview segment of the roadmap. Here we can see the current status of each chapter. Chapter 1, for example, as of Quarter 3 2019, is in progress with Phase 1, represented here by a green circle. Phase 1 is the white box narrative, which basically means that the chapter is in the concept and planning phase. Chapter 2, meanwhile, has completed Phase 2, represented here by a green tick. Phase 2 is white box playable. This essentially is a playable concept build which may include flow graphs instead of gameplay where necessary. Now, it's important to understand each of these phases as it gives a clearer picture of the game's current level of development. In total, there are 5 phases to each chapter's progress. In addition to the 2 we've already covered, Phase 3 is grey box. Once complete, this phase will present a relatively complete field, but will be missing key assets such as textures, certain graphics, and any assets that are not ready. Phase 4 is production, which really is self-explanatory, as is Phase 5, which is polish. So looking back at the roadmap, it's clear that there are some significant delays going on here. For example, the second quarter of 2019, CIG aimed to complete 16 targets, and out of these 16, only 3 are so far complete. The rest are still in progress and are over 6 months late. The story is the same for the third quarter of 2019. Out of 18 targets, none have so far been completed, meaning that these are now at least 3 months late. To put this into its clearest terms then, CIG set 62 targets to complete throughout the entirety of 2019. Out of those 62 targets, they have only completed 13. It's also worth mentioning that as of the current roadmap dated the 20th of December 2019, not a single chapter of Squadron 42 has reached the completion of the grey box phase. And in fact, out of the 28 chapters, only 12 of them have reached progress or development in the grey box phase. Now at this point, it's only fair to point out there's a pretty big caveat here, and that is that all of these chapters are likely waiting on core technology to be developed before any further progress can be made on them. I mean, obviously, if there's a delay on important aspects of the game's tech, then no further progress can be made on the chapters themselves. However, as we saw early on in the video, most of the core tech is either on schedule or has been completed and reached the current targets, or at the very least is only behind schedule by a few weeks. This then really doesn't tally up with the delays that we are seeing on individual chapters' progress. So it's obvious that for whatever reason, Squadron 42 is set to have significant delays. By CIG's own roadmap, we can see that the game is at a minimum 6 months behind schedule, and it's more than possible this might be as much as 9 months behind. If this timeline holds true, then it would mean that the beta phase would be pushed back to Q1 of 2021 at the very minimum, meaning that ultimately Squadron 42 will not be released until the middle of 2021. Now, for those that have been paying attention to the game's development, this certainly won't come as a surprise. However, with CIG still showing that Q3 beta release is nonetheless certainly worth talking about. Now, all of this certainly does raise a number of rather pertinent questions. I don't really want to get too heavily into these in this particular video, as it really is outside its scope. However, they're certainly worth raising and mentioning. So you may remember the 1 hour of Star Citizen gameplay from the 2018 demo, and it also looked to be in a rather complete form. Now, keeping in mind, based on the roadmap, that not a single chapter has even completed its grey box phase, we can only assume that the gameplay demo that we saw then was in fact a demo, just something mocked together in order to be displayed for the purposes of looking at what the demo or the game itself might one day be like. The recent trailer, the one that you've seen playing in the background here, is also rather interesting. Likely it doesn't contain any gameplay, as again, nothing is at that level of completion. So the bottom line as to the state of play of Squadron 42 in 2020 is that based on all publicly available information, it's unlikely the game will see a release this year. However, progress is continuing on the game, and despite the pace of development, the concept of a fully fledged campaign-driven space game is certainly very appealing, and I hope to see more information on this from CIG during the year. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.